The carob tree, Ceratonia siliqua. Yeah, I'm afraid I had to look that one up. We don't get to work on this tree too often, so I was curious. I looked it up, and it says it's a flowering evergreen tree or shrub in the legume family, Fabaceae, that is widely cultivated for its edible pods and as an ornamental tree in gardens and landscapes. The carob tree is native to the Mediterranean region and the Middle East. Well, this particular tree that we got into had an anomaly. It had these burls or galls, and I do not know what they are, to be honest with you. It was all throughout the entire tree. So I got out my chainsaw and I actually cut one of these things open because I wanted to see if they were soft and punky or if they were solid wood, and they are indeed solid. So I'm going to say there's some sort of a burl type growth. And what causes burls? Well, it's usually based upon some sort of an infestation that the tree has a reaction to. But this tree was that it was everywhere, and it also had some fungus in it. It had a big shelf fungus up there, a basidiocarp. I'm not sure what kind it is. It's not a Ganoderma, I don't believe, but it was a little bit different. You can see that white spot was a fresh bit, but look at that growth. That is so unnatural. Everywhere you look throughout the entire tree, they had all these. I'm going to start calling them burls, but if there's anybody out there that can help me out and correct me, I would really appreciate it. It's one of the beautiful things about this channel. I don't profess to be the expert. I do know a lot, but I really welcome advice and opinions from other arborists from all over the world. So, I mean, look at this. I mean, it looks like this tree has leprosy. It was so bad, and there were so many weaknesses and so many defects. Now, this branch was being supported by this lower piece, and I was afraid to cut it off because I was afraid that if I cut that support off, that it might have broken. The tree was starting to self-destruct. A lot of the branches were breaking. There was also a lot of evidence of sapsucker damage in this tree, the birds that made the little holes in little sequential circles. I don't believe that was part of it. I was thinking that it was possible that the tree may have had some, maybe more like a woolly apple aphid type of an infestation that caused this. So here I cut off some fresh ones. And it was interesting to see the fresh ones were very different than the ones that grew a little bit more abnormal. Look at that. They're more smooth. They're more rounded, but they're very solid. They're not punky on the inside. Look at that mess. I mean, I was kind of blown away by this, and I've gotten into a lot of carob trees, but they're really uncommon. Honestly, I only trim maybe 1 or 2 a year in our area. They're a Mediterranean tree. They like this climate. They do well. They're planted as street trees in a lot of places, in Campbell anyway. But so I was kind of curious. So there was another big carob tree just down the street. So I thought, I'm going to go see what that one looks like. Does that one have the same problem? And it did not. I mean, there was a little bit, if you look way up there on some of the branches, some of the small areas, but the majority of the tree was entirely different than the one that we're working on. And I must venture to say that these are male trees because they do not produce the edible carob seed pods. They're legumes that they are actually kind of like a chocolate substitute, and they've been harvested for a lot of purposes. They're interesting trees, really messy trees. A lot of people hate them because they're so messy. And quite often they'll grow with a very twisted trunk. There's a few of them in Campbell that they're like corkscrews. The lumber value would be terrible. But speaking of lumber value, they are a type of tree that woodturners are really drawn to. Now there's the owner of this tree, and she absolutely loves it. So she was watching us like a hawk. So let's get on to a little bit different story here. I was asked to assist a local community in putting up some Christmas lights. And this is the tree that was lit up last year. And this is the kids' tree. This is a giant sequoia. It's different than the coast sequoia. And this tree is like the climbing tree of all climbing trees. As a matter of fact, I have seen as many as 20 children up in this tree at the same time. So these are the lights that they pulled down from last year. I don't know if they want to reuse them or not. I hope not. I'm sure they're probably defunct. But interesting, the tree has not been topped, but it has developed sort of a flat top appearance. I don't know if it blew a top off in the past. I didn't get up there and look at it. Well, fortunately, this is the one they want to relight this year. And I'll be able to reach about 80% of it with my little bucket. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate all the comments, and please subscribe.